Okay.
But we're good. We're okay.
We figured it out.
We're good.
We may fix that in post. We may fix that in post.
Do you mind not dying at our table?
Or on a podcast, for that matter. That means this is physical
I do
evidence.
what I want, Tyler.
This
if
is
I want to
physical
die, I'm
evidence.
dying.
I guess you're right. Oh, boy.
Judge, the accused died on camera. We have the footage. Roll that clip.
Accused what?
See, as you can see right here, he was dabbing, and that is, of course, leads to death.
Yeah, so with the accusal happening, hi, I'm Tyler Spence.
I'm Zachary Richard Dunkerton.
I hate the dab.
Did you know Kyle Casimir when he was in town?
Yes, I know. That's why I was like, really?
He taught me how to do that. The extreme dab.
It's not hard to know how to do.
I know.
It's a little excessive.
I didn't know
will
it
say.
existed before him.
I unfortunately did not know that either.
And that's Frank Joseph Hall.
Yeah, I would hope by now you would know our names, but we're still going to introduce ourselves to the new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tyler of the house.
Spence.
Sure,
I suppose.
that one. Yeah, that
sure,
one.
that house. Yeah.
I was going to actually say Game of Thrones one, but continue.
Well,
House Dunks.
probably the Starks.
House Egg.
House Egg. Yeah, so I came up with a topic sort of fueled by some of the conversation we've had recently.
Uh-oh. Wait, like on this very podcast recently, or like in general recently?
In general, and also on this podcast.
Oh,
And
interesting.
sort of
Is it
just-
about Chore Wars, which you can watch any Monday on our channel?
I thought you didn't like plugging things.
I don't, unless it's comedically appropriate.
Oh, was it?
I mean, if they laugh, sure. If
Sure.
one person laughs, it's comedically appropriate.
There we go. Anyways, no.
You know me.
So in terms of entertainment and things we enjoy and all that good stuff, I was curious as to what my friends here. What are your turnoffs from enjoying something? What, like, you could be in the middle of watching a movie or in the middle of hearing a song, but as soon as this topic or like this thing happens in the movie, you're just not interested anymore. If there is,
Like, no matter what they do.
like, no matter what happens with it, like, is there just certain things that you consider just unenjoyable 110% and you just don't want to watch anymore?
See, it's the don't want to watch anymore aspect. Because there's a lot of things I'm like, really, you're doing this, but then I'll keep watching. For example, anyone who's preachy and not like religiously preachy, like you have a message and you're going to be very obvious of what that message is to, like, I'm like this or that or this or that. And it's like, and you think you're being subtle. Oh, that's the worst when you think you're being subtle. And I'm like, you're not. That can bother me and that can make me enjoy something less, sure. But I don't know if it would, like, I don't know. I'd have to really think on like something that would just make me instantly hate it.
Like you're talking about something where it's like that happens and you turn it off, right?
More or less, yes. That's sort of the route that I'm going down. So like, for example,
Oh, by the way, quick aside, preachy and whichever, like, even if I agree with that thing, I'm like, really? You're going to be preachy? Okay, like that. Sorry, continue. Not one specific side.
so like, for example, I kind of brought up the point after we watched John Wick where I was like, isn't it interesting how, not just myself, but some of the theater found some of the kills in that movie very entertaining or like very funny, even when some of them weren't funny.
Correct.
And like, it made me think like, because I, out of the three of us at this table, listen to and probably consume the most explicit content in terms of my music and what I
No, you
listen
think
to.
the guy with the Jesus shirt doesn't listen to explicit content?
Right. But what I'm saying is like, for me, watching that movie has no effect on me, at least consciously. Like, I'm just like, all right, this is what I came to see. I knew this was going to happen in this movie.
Let's see that guy's jaw get dislocated.
Right. And even if some of the stuff made me like cringe because it's supposed to look bad, it's like, is there, like, in terms of something like, for example, in film, if, like, because we'll kind of go down sort of a list here, I'll make it easy. So, like, in film, is there ever a point where, like, in any movie that you've seen, let's start with that, because I think that'll be easier to sort of focus on, any movie that you've seen where, like, maybe specifically, like, the gore or what's going on in the movie has just made you, like, turned off from the movie. Maybe not completely shut it off, but, like,
Like checked out.
Just checked out. You're like, all right.
If it's boring, Like I remember watching Bridge of Spies because it's like, oh, it's an Oscar, it's like nominated for Oscars. It's a Steven Spielberg movie. I'm like, okay, this will be interesting. And
Tom
like,
Hanks.
Tom Hanks is in it, and it actually did win some awards. And like, I fell asleep twice. It was that uninteresting, and it was like, why do I not find this interesting? And it's not the style of movie because that same year I want to say Spotlight came out, and I loved Spotlight. And it's not the subject matter because I like political intrigue and whatnot, but it was just whatever, for whatever reason, Spielberg, man, it was just boring. Like, I was like, here we go, they're talking, and 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 like, I just fell asleep, and then it got to the part where it's what the name of was called, bridge, like, where they basically trade off the two spies on a bridge. And I was like, oh, we got to the quote-unquote tension-building part. Nothing's really happening, and they switch spies, and that's it. Okay, cool. Like that, I think boringness, where it's like it's not doing anything interesting. Like even a bad movie, even if it's like really bad, like at least to that extent, you're like, how far down is this train wreck gonna go? How many cars are gonna be piled onto this crash site? Like to some extent, there's that. Let's see how bad this gets vibe. But I think if a movie's just boring, if it's just like doesn't do anything interesting, doesn't take risks, and just is bland, I think that'll make me not lose interest pretty fast.
That's a great tangent. So has there been
And
any...
The Wasp is another example.
Has there been any movie where the gore in the movie has shut you off from the movie? Has there like maybe anything in Game of Thrones or maybe in any just like movie
if it's
where
like
just excessive and you're just like...
If it's excessive to the point where it's like, that's the reason... so the Texas Chainsaw movies where it's like the gore is half of the point, that turns me like that. I don't like, no, I'm not going to watch those because I'm like, really? Like, I don't want to see just like blood.
Or like the Saw movies and stuff like that.
That's kind of more of the route that I was leaning.
What's
was like,
funny is I'll watch the Saw movies because of the really weirdly like soap opera plot that happens. Like it gets insanely stupid.
Yeah. I know. I've out of all the movies that I've ever seen, I've seen a majority of the Saw movies.
Let me explain to you. So Saw 3 happens, and then you go to see Saw 4. Saw 4, the plot twist is it's happening at the same time as Saw 3.
Okay.
It's really weird. It comes out of nowhere. You're like, what?
Yeah, see, but that also kind of leads back to the expectations things where I go to watch the Saw movies specifically for the gore. Like I'm there to like see how they're just gonna wreck some human's day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, sure, there's like they try to do this whole thing of like the killer who doesn't technically kill his victim. No one cares. I think literally everyone who sees the Saw movies do not care about that point of Jigsaw.
See, the only point in any of the movies that's ever really impacted me has been the point where I watched a dude, or I think it was a female, jump into a pit of literal dirty syringes.
Oh, no. She didn't jump in. She was pushed
in.
Oh,
yeah, that was the second one.
Yeah,
where they're in the house.
It's just like.
That one was interesting because
that's just terrible.
And I found that interesting because the plot twist at the end of the second one was these video monitors that they're seeing that are supposedly live were actually pre-recorded and everything had already happened.
Yep.
It was very interesting.
Yep.
Have either of you seen Bone Tomahawk?
Nope.
It's a Western, and there's a scene in that movie where you see a naked guy literally get like skinned and split in half.
Yeah.
That's
kind of weird.
Yeah, going to like that spectrum of it. I personally am not a fan of sex scenes because they don't, from just a simply artistic standpoint, they don't do much aside from here's sex, and even then it's not even sex. It's like really lame.
I mean, depending
but
on the movie.
But if it's a movie that is exploring it, or if it's like a pivotal plot point, then sure, I can understand that. But if it's just like, we're going to prove that they're in love now, it's like, you could do that in other ways. I don't care to see the sex scene or a naked person for no reason.
Fair enough.
Like in The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, yeah, it's like, okay, I didn't need to know that she was going to bang a fish dude. And then you get more explicit with it. And
never saw Shape of Water, but I'm already interested.
When I saw The Shape of Water, it was me and an older couple.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That opening
scene, I was like, oh.
Zach Savory went with his fiance and her mom, and that opening scene where the woman is in a bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's just like, should I be? Oh, okay. Like they're covering his eyes.
Yeah. Typically, gore doesn't bother me very much. if it's at least a little cartoony. Like, I love the Mortal Kombat games, and the gore in that doesn't bother me at all because heads are getting chopped off.
It's the more realistic stuff.
Intestines are getting ripped out.
Because you could even make that argument slightly for John Wick, because like a lot of the moments where it's like really bad are either for specifically like display or it's for comedy.
Yeah. Also in John Wick, you don't see any like intestines hanging out or anything.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it never ever gets like that excessive.
I can't speak for the first movie, but I know the second and third, most of it's CGI.
Really?
Like the blood splatters.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
Are CGI.
Doesn't really feel like it, but yeah.
Well, no, because the CGI is really good.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like you'll be surprised with how many movies have CGI in it because it's so subtle. Like in Avengers Endgame, the white suits, that's all CGI. They were not wearing those suits.
Interesting.
100%. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Going back to the whole sex thing, something that it doesn't quite affect me as much anymore, but something that definitely were a few years back, it was like, if there's sexual assault, it's like, I'm done, I'm out. Like
13 Reasons Why. So like that show, it's like, okay, you're gonna find out why this girl killed herself. It lost me because it showed rape twice and how the girl killed herself. Like it shows you how she physically, and like they like, drag it out like
on camera, like in frame,
every single part of it. It's dark. And then apparently in the second season it gets worse. Okay. And there is a thing that happens at the end of one of the episodes, and it is dark. And that made me not watch the show, because it's like, you could say that you're creating a commentary on it, but they're not doing a good job, and it's really more harmful than it is. Like, you can talk about rape and like problems with it, but like to show it, I think is pushing a line.
Yeah.
It's something that kind of kept me away from, for instance, like you mentioned Game of Thrones. I enjoyed the series.
Is the sex position?
You know what's interesting about that is that there has only been one moment in Game of Thrones now, to be fair, I'm only on like season 3. So like really just like the basis like first 2.5 seasons. There was really only one moment that like I would say that it like I was just like, you know, I'm actually not enjoying this right now. And it was and I mean this is like season 2, so spoilers I guess from years ago. Tyrion sends prostitutes to Joffrey, and when they go in the room, he legitimately loads a crossbow, and he's like, I want you to literally beat the other prostitute with like a wooden stake end of like, not like a, it's like at first it was like a belt, and then it turned into like a literal like what looked to be like a wooden part of the end of the bed.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just want you to like beat her.
This was the point of the show where it's like, Joffrey's bad, and it's like, we get it.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't even feel like it was that. I didn't feel like they were doing it for that sake. I felt like they were doing it for that impact that I felt like they were like, this is gonna like, it's not because it's just Joffrey, like this is supposed to hurt.
For the shock of it.
Maybe.
Well, yes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
They're getting a reaction.
They're getting a reaction out of it. Yeah. For some reason, I view the term shock negatively, but
it can. But
if we're talking
if you're
about
doing it purposely,
for a reaction from it, and that's the only time in any recent media which I've seen where I've been kind of like,
there was one movie. It's on my top 10 movies list, and where I said it would be my favorite movie was it not for one part, and
what movie?
Sorry to bother you. It's really a really good movie. There's a lot of creative parts that like transitions that like I was like, I've never seen this transition type before. That's really cool. Like the way they did a lot of it from a creative standpoint, and the story was interesting up to one point. And like, why did you need to show me that? Like, just give them pants. I didn't need to see that. And then it's still there, lodged in my brain.
Right.
I still enjoyed the movie. I would loved it if it wasn't for that.
Right.
So similar fashion.
Okay. So moving on from films, I was going to say to transition into music. So I've noticed that something that you do when you hear my music a lot is instead of ever paying attention to what's being said in the song, and this is of course just me.
Beat.
No, not that. It's you do this thing where you like kind of mimic the flow in like a jokey tone.
That's true.
And I don't know why.
For whatever reason, I recognized this in college. For whatever reason, if it is someone else's music playing in a situation that I did not want their music to be played in. So like if like you're blasting music in our house, I do not like it, even if it's a song I like. If that makes sense. Because I guess it's the introvert part of me. I'm like, this is Frank's space, and you are interrupting Frank's space with your music. Please don't interrupt. So
it's not the noise itself, just the fact that there is noise.
Yeah, well, specifically like music. And so that might have translated to your like that style, because I don't listen to trap in general, so I associate it with I don't like I'm annoyed, so I might do it that way. I don't know. It could also be that I'm trying to be funny and I'm failing at it.
Oh no, it's always come off as like a very sarcastic, like, all right, you have shit music taste. So
I was never.
I figured that wasn't like your actual intention, but that's always how it's come off. So.
And I'm really cool, and I'm making this up as I go. Ha ha ha! Please laugh, please. I need self-validation.
Right.
That's more probably what it is.
So is there anything that, like, obviously, like you just said, and neither of you listen to the type of music that I do, is and I know I've kind of had this discussion with you before, or at least, sorry, this discussion I've had with Frank before about how, you know, you care about the lyrics a lot, but you also go on to try and tell me about how you don't like trap instrumentals. And I remember one day I even defined for you what a trap instrumental was. I couldn't explain
what it was about the definition of it.
Yeah.
And it might not be trap, but most of the trap that I've heard, I'm not a fan of. I mean, if the beat is not... We've all heard annoying songs, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know how like sometimes just the melody of itself can be annoying? And I'm not saying trap's annoying. But the melody itself could be annoying to the point where you're not even going to listen to the lyrics. You're just like, why am I hearing this thing? Mm-hmm. I think it might be on that level where it's like, I think I will really enjoy it once I listen to the lyrics. But for whatever reason, the production is holding me back from even listening to that, if that makes sense.
I suppose, but it kind of goes into that whole discussion I was thinking about earlier where it was like you guys were talking about the technical aspects of certain genres of music, and I'm over here like, all right, but have you heard some of these instrumentals some of these people are coming up with and the way they're twisting samples and like just working in certain like things? And it's like, I feel like, because me personally, and this is I would state as fact, you can only go so far with physical instruments and physical playing. There is a technical limit.
Oh, yeah, it's 12 notes.
Yeah, well, no, it's not just that, but I'm saying that, like, no matter how you spin all of notes, because I even had this discussion with Evan when I hung out with him for, like, 3 hours, and we kind of shared music taste. Yeah. And he's like, I was talking about how
there is a
lot of rap instrumentals and the way people flow on those things, I feel like is far more diverse than anything I would hear in other forms of music, which is why I enjoy it so much. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, what you're describing right now is how I feel about banjo music. And I was like, fair enough.
So it could just be like you're just discovering the genre kind of a thing. Yeah. Like you're still in the process of discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be that.
So I don't know what it is, but it's like in terms of music, at least getting back onto somewhat on topic. Yeah, I don't know what that noise is either. It's the second time it's popped up. Oh, you're running laundry.
Yeah, I did you not see the dog peed on something?
Oh, the mat. That's right. Yeah. That makes sense. Anyways, getting back onto topic. So obviously you guys have your taste of music and I have mine. Not that, I'm trying to like differentiate that much, but so like for example, obviously, because you're on the sort of outside of this because you're not someone who's played music and things like that, and you're talking about how you just like what's enjoyable to your ears. So is like, because I don't know if it factors into for both of you or not. Like if I sit you down and I was like, all right, let's listen to a rap album together. I won't make it too much, I'll start with something, more on the spiritual, lyrical, like has a message, something that I think you might be able to get behind or at least enjoy more than some of the fun music that I enjoy, like especially in the mornings when I'm working because I like to have a little more energy. Mm-hmm. Is it, obviously I know for you it's, you say it's the production, but I also feel like the lyrics probably.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
for you, what is it that turns you off from certain forms of music? Like, is it a certain sound? Is it the lyrics themselves? Is it...
And no one will be offended with
it
what
can
you
be
say.
A combination. I mean, I have found some rap that I enjoy, like NF, Lecrae, a few others. I like some Eminem. But I think it's more just that I grew up and started listening to on my own certain kinds of music. You know, started listening to rock and metal, and just stuck with that and didn't venture far. I've taken a little dip in the rap more recently, but overall it's very alien to me, I guess.
I think that's like when you're exposing yourself to a new genre, it's really hard to find, like, to dip your toe in the right spot. So that might also, like, that could explain it too.
Yeah, and it's something that I realize every single time I talk to people about my favorite genre of music, is that I was blessed with the, fortune of basically having listened to it since I was in the womb, because I always joke about how my mom and dad followed Eminem and Dre on tour while my mom was pregnant with me.
That's funny.
So it's like I've just been listening to this kind of music for as long as I can remember. But don't get me wrong, I've tried every other genre of music. I really have. And nothing, like, I can enjoy, like, when I was listening to songs with Evan and he was showing me bluegrass, and I added songs to my not my, like, work playlist, but, like, to other playlists and stuff like that on Spotify, because I was like, this sounds really good. I enjoy this.
That's how I am too. But I'm like, oh, dang, nice.
But it's like, what happens is, at least for me, I go through this unfortunate cycle on my Spotify because of how much I listen to music. What happens is I have a playlist with, like, 300 or 400 plus songs now, again, and for some reason, I'm heavily into, like, the last 10 songs I've added, and I sort of just listen to those on a rotation with, like, a slight deviation for here and there until I add, like, another 10 songs that I really enjoy. And then it's those 10. And then eventually what happens is my playlist gets so long, and I'm like, I don't want to listen to all these songs, but then I delete the playlist, and I'm like, all right, time to make a new one. But then I realized why I added all those other songs in the first place. Because the only criteria for me adding a song to my work playlist is that I enjoyed it at some point, and that's it. It just goes on the playlist. It's just there because I like to catalog the music that I've enjoyed, which is a lot of music.
That's mostly what my Spotify is. If I like the song, I will like it, and then if however long comes to pass and I'm like, I don't listen to that song anymore, I might unlike it, but that's about it.
Yeah, see, I use Spotify extensively and have made multiple playlists for different moods that I feel. And, like, the other great thing about, like, music streaming in general is that they love to notify me when artists that I enjoy come out with new music. So it's especially since I don't have social media anymore, it's actually been a little bit harder to keep up with releases of things because I didn't realize how much information I was getting from Facebook about my favorite artist releasing music soon. Now I just end up hearing it through, like, YouTube music reviews or anything like that. Like, I didn't even realize that I think it was today that Tyler, the Creator, released his new album that I still haven't listened to yet. And I was like, oh, right, that came out. Because I saw some of the teaser videos on YouTube, and I was like, I need to listen to that. But, for me personally, the lyrics matter in a sense. Like,
yeah, they do.
Yeah, they kind of always
My
do.
humps.
Yeah, but guess what, Frank? I like that song.
And you're welcome to, but, like, here's the thing. I will find myself get that song stuck in my head, and I'll be like, why the heck?
Because it's catchy.
Because it's catchy. But then I'm like, but it's so... No.
Do you have the horses in the back?
No. I don't. I think that's what's tough is that... I know, obviously, sometimes other people's opinions can sway you because, again, we're people. Whether that's good or bad. But yeah, like, just nah, man. Like, just because just because the song is catchy does not mean it. Like, there are some songs on my Spotify playlist or Spotify that I love the first 15 seconds, and I'll be like, I'm here to listen to these first 15 seconds. Next song, So, like,
I don't ever feel like that.
Right.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Every song that I've ever enjoyed, I've pretty much enjoyed thoroughly the whole way. There's only a few instances that I can't really even remember off the top of my head, but I know I can remember feeling like that, where there might be a beat switch up or something where I'm like, I'm not really feeling this half of it, but I still enjoy the song as a whole, so I never skip it because I enjoy it.
There are songs where it's like, I like this part, let me get to this part.
It's like, wow, what's the viral song off of Astroworld from Travis Scott with Drake?
Sicko Mode.
Yeah. So Sicko Mode.
Audience recognized that Frank is the one who had to remind Tyler about a rap song
because of how much music I consume, and I
the only time it'll ever happen, ever.
No, but like, so the thing about Sicko Mode and like
a light.
Yeah. So like here's the thing: is I don't really care for like the second instrumental in that thing. And if anyone knows that song, that's like
Some would say.
a majority of the song is
would
that
say.
second switch up where like Travis is mainly the one, on the beat. And I don't know. I really enjoyed the first part of it, and I really enjoyed the third part of it, and I enjoy the callbacks.
And then the middle happens.
And then I enjoy the callbacks in the second part of that song. But I never like find myself going back to that song to listen to it. Like,
but if it
if it's on, I'm like a light, I'm about it.
See, he takes a drug that knocks him to sleep.
Yeah, half his
He's
head.
out like a light.
Which he stole that flow from another artist, but that's not the point.
Would that make you not like something if you knew it was not original?
No, because the thing about rap is pretty much everything's been
Everyone
done.
steals everyone else.
Yeah, no. See, it's not that everyone steals everything else. It's just that because of especially in the because I am in the firm camp, and I believe I've said it before on this podcast that rap is in the best state it's ever been because of how much
It
is
has
being
nowhere
made.
to go but down.
No, incorrect. It has nowhere to go but up because everyone is right now trying. See, the thing is you could say that, and there might be bad artists, but I don't think that the bad artists really outweigh the good artists. And then I try to show everyone the good artists, and everyone's like, turn that shit off. I want to listen to my rock and my whatever.
Tyler, we were doing so well with these past podcasts and not the censoring. All right, it's fine.
I get really emotional about this.
I know. It's okay. We'll work through it together. So Zach, is there any immediate turnoffs for you from a music like even if it's a genre you like?
Not really that I can think of. I have a fairly wide likability ratio. Different genres, but I'll say this, like, there's nothing in particular that'll turn me off, but a lot of times I'll only like one or two songs per artist.
That's fair. I've come to that problem where I find this one song, listen to the whole album, I'm like, it wasn't like this one song.
Yeah,
okay.
I am not an album guy.
You know what's really weird is
the problem is most artists nowadays don't make good albums.
Yeah, see,
and when I say good albums, I don't mean the songs on them are bad. It's just that the album experience itself is not good.
Not in my genre of music.
Well, I'm sure there are some.
I'm sure there's some that are bad. 6ix9ine released an album called
We don't
Young
talk
Boy,
about him.
where
we don't talk about him.
Fun fact about that album,
don't
it's
even
just
give
a
him
bunch of
credit.
singles, and that's fine.
See, like Muse is a fantastic album band. Oh, they're so good. Oh, Muse,
Alright.
because every single song in their albums fit into the theme that they're talking about. It's real good.
I guess, yeah.
What do you mean you guess?
I guess, yeah.
In what instance are they not a good
Just
album?
because they all fit into the theme of the album doesn't make it a good album. If
We'll
the
have this-
quality,
this is a
if the
different
quality of
conversation.
songs don't match up
And
to
the
the
qualities
standard,
of songs are really good for Muse.
they're okay.
But is that your personal opinion, or is that true?
No, I think they're just okay. They're average. I don't think that they're really above.
I disagree with that.
That's fine, but I think that's also your personal opinion.
So then, can you say that we're not going to get into this conversation? So
Not today.
Yeah. So yeah, you find yourself just like one or two.
Yeah, usually. I think at most, like, not even per album, but per artist, I think Skillet has the most songs that I like per like band, and that's 6-ish, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I was to say technically speaking, I think who I think has I like to refer to it as the batting average, like in terms of albums and songs that I enjoy. I honestly probably would put like a Kendrick at the top if I was like to go through the whole discography and like, all right, what do I enjoy? And it's pretty much Kendrick. I don't think has ever released a song like himself has ever released a song that I haven't enjoyed. He's been featured on some songs that I'm not a fan of, like the Maroon 5 song that was garbage.
We don't talk about Maroon 5 at this table either.
But that's besides the point. So I find with rap music, there are like, especially nowadays, there's so many conceptual albums that are coming out that are super well done, and it's like I find myself having a hard time not listening to the whole album when I listen to specific songs. There's only a couple artists that like, there's only one or two songs that I like, because usually when I find a song that I like, I go out of my way to listen to multiple albums. But then again, I also, because of like where I work and things like that, I have a lot of time in my day to just listen to albums. So I don't know. Not as many people have as much playtime on Spotify as I do. And that's just a result of me listening to music like 24/7.
My answer is Pentatonics. I know that for a fact because I was really into them when they were good.
I know.
Oh, sad. So yeah, like there was literally, it's like new album comes out, Download the whole thing. Like, every song on it was good. There was one song in the second album that I actually thought was a little even though they did something unique with it. It was Valentine, just kind of
Are they the a cappella group?
Yes.
Yes.
And they unfortunately have fallen out, and not in the sense of like they're no longer a band, but like their music's not as good.
They got lame, like
They're just not. They used to do like really unique and original stuff, and like really change the covers they would do, and then they just became an a cappella group, and that was the problem. So it went from like this unique take on a song to we're singing the song again. Yay.
Yeah.
And that's what most of our friend group who like really like Pentatonics agree with. It's like, and unfortunately, I think that made me like their stuff less, which is sad. But
that can happen. Having
some of their newer songs, they're getting back on the right track. But the biggest problem with Pentatonics is they don't take a break. And so from a creative standpoint, it might just be the fact that because they have to keep pumping out music and then going on tour because that's how they sustain money, that might be...
They could just be burning out then.
Yeah.
And speaking from my genre of music, that's the reason why a lot of people think that Logic's newest album is like kind of trash. Because the dude's releasing an album
and writing a book
in less than like a year in span of time. And the thing is also it kind of like... From a listening standpoint, the album's fine, but the problem is you know how you're talking about how like the marketing affects you?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened with this Logic album. Everyone was expecting, because Logic said himself that it was going to be like this, and then it wasn't like this. I didn't know that expectation going into the album. I just thought the concept was kind of cool, and then he didn't do the concept, but the songs were still likable.
Yeah.
There's only like 3 songs I like off that album, and 2 of them were singles before the album came out.
Well, now that the laundry is done, so is this podcast.
Yay. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have whatever, any turnoffs that you might have in terms of your form of media, or maybe just since we got into a bit of a music genre discussion, if you have any favorite genres of music.
Half and half.
Yeah, just about half and half. Things that you enjoy or things that turn you off from certain forms of media, feel free to comment below, let us know, have some discussion about it. Also, go ahead and hit the like button if you liked our rambling about such things, and subscribe.
Make sure to check out our other videos.
Check out the other videos as well.
More about it in the comments.
Yeah. More about it in the comments. Sure.
Heck yeah.
Behind the scenes series, we have other podcasts, episodes.
And Chore Wars.
Chore Wars. Spoilers. I win at least one. At this point, they would have already had been an episode where I win. Yeah. So I don't think it's a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler.
Or is it?
God,
You'll have to watch to find out. You have to watch to find out.
But anyways, thank you for tuning in. I am Tyler Spence.
I am Zachary Richard Dunkerton.
And I am going to talk into the mic, Frank Joseph Hall.
Wow.
Did you just try to eat the mic?
No.
Never.